Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Okay. Okay. And when they update the files and it's like forever for everything to be set up, yes, I know your privacy matters. So if you ever want to stop the annoying things that happen with PowerPoint where it tries to take over 2 screens, go to slideshow. What is it? Setup slideshow, browse by an individual window. And what that allows you to do is now it's in a window instead of taking over your entire monitor. You learned something today, okay? Good, okay. So this is marketing channel strategy. My name is Dr. Shows, pronounced like cows. It's S-H-O-W-S. I am originally from Mississippi. I grew up on the Gulf Coast, 2 blocks from the beach. I couldn't be any further away from the mountains than I could have possibly been. So what am I doing here? Well, what I'm doing here basically is I fell in love with one of the professors here and I chased her and she caught me, okay? So my wife is Dr. Almanson. And she is a teacher here in marketing research. We have 2 beautiful daughters. One's 12. She went 99 percentile, and she's reading Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky, and she can't stand how I pronounce Dostoevsky. But we're very happy here, and I love this school. I'm glad you're here too. All right. So just a couple of other things. If you notice, I opened up a Zoom meeting. So we have students that are also in Hickory. And so I will always have a Zoom meeting up and I will always record the meetings. Does that mean you can be at home and watch this? Yeah, you can, but I don't like you to be here if you can, all right? Basically, you will have the sessions, they will be recorded, and literally everything that I would be on the test is something I will say, but by the very same other notion, nothing that I don't say will not be on the test, okay? So in other words, if you want to know exactly what's on the test, listen to my lectures, all right? I will point that out. I will scream to you in no unabashed way when I say this will be on the test, this will be on the test, and we're gonna do one today, okay? So I'm gonna go through the roll. I would ask you to raise your hand, please. We have to do roll in the first week. Otherwise, if you are not at least at one session, what will happen is that they'll drop you out. So just in case you've already missed a class, don't miss the next one, okay? Just healthy. All right, so Emma Boone. Stacy Burgess. There's Stacy. Yes, I see you, Stacy. Okay. Dallas Campos. Is it Jagger or is it Jagger?
Yes.
I get it right. Forgive me, I'm miserable at names, so please correct me. All right. I don't want to be always stupid. Will Davis. Elver, is that correct?
Yeah.
Elver, all right. Evan Polo, all right. Did you? Okay, yeah, how'd it go, by the way?
Went good.
All right.
Good.
Yeah, good to
Everything ended up, wraps up really nice, and
Okay,
it's on my way.
all right. I'm also director of interns, and Evan was one of my interns. Glad to hear that. Okay. Myra Gamble, all right. Cameron Gowan, all right. Karen Hamlet, is that right? Wait, yes, I see you. Okay. Luke? All right, Luke. Bradley Horde? All right, Bradley. Joseph Honeycutt? Lauren Hupp, is that right? Elliot? Alex Leatherwood? I see you. Thanks, Alex. Joe, is it Lehack?
That's like.
Lehack, okay. Mississippi, what do I know? Dugan, Doug Dugan or yes, Dugan. All right, I'll say I got one right. George McDowell. George. Lauren McGraw. Okay. Tyler McMurray. Okay. Jake Page. All right, Jake. Sage Patterson. Charlotte Saxton. Okay. Kaylee. All right. The Kayleys, all right. And this, is it Kaili? That's okay. Audrey, right? Lexi, okay. Drew, okay, and Jake Williams. All right. Is there anyone I didn't call out? Anyone at all? Okay, so let's go over some rules and maybe we can get out of here in 30 minutes or so. All right. So first thing to do is this class is marketing channel strategy. All right. Now, as someone pointed out to me, I had up there the marketing strategy for my graduate class. I've replaced that. So now the correct syllabus is there. Excuse me. So, give me a break. All right. So let's do a window thingy. And talk about the syllabus. And so this is marketing channel strategy. So who in here is supply chain? I gotta have my supply chain people here. Yes, marketing channels is very close to supply chain, but we look at things from an entirely different direction. And so for you supply chain folks, you're in a good place because we'll be able to explain the entire supply chain as it happens. So what is the difference between marketing channels and channel strategy and supply chain? Well, I'll show it to you. So is anybody, supply chain people, have y'all talked about just in time yet? Okay, so the whole idea with just in time is, so we have this automobile here and with my very lousy drawing. And so my automobile is made up of component parts. And so one of them is a tire and one of them is windows. And another one of those is brakes and steering wheels and all sorts of other things that makes tires. Now, the one thing that we know is it takes a different amount of time to make a tire than it does a window. And so if we really want to be efficient, we want to make sure that the tires and the windows get to the assembly line exactly at the moment that they're needed, okay? So what this means is, let's say it takes 28 days to make a car, okay? So let's say on day 3, they need the tires, but it takes 2 weeks to get the tires. It means that 2 weeks before they start making this vehicle and they need the tires, they order the tires then, all right? So let's say it takes 2 days to get the windows. So then 2 days before, they order the windows. This is what's known as material requirements planning, material resource planning, or MRP. It's been around for almost 40 to 50 years. This is what supply chains think about is the most efficient way of getting the goods at the exact moment it's needed. And you can look at supply chain from the beginning of the object all the way to the delivery to the consumer. Okay? So supply chain has sub-assemblies and it has fixed goods and it has raw materials and they order all this stuff at the exact time that they need it. And the ultimate job is that you want to push these things to the consumer. So you're pushing those things through the line, pushing them through. The manufacturer of the car has salespeople that sell directly to franchises. The franchises have direct salespeople who sell to consumers. That's push. Marketing channel strategy, we only care about one person, the consumer. The consumer is the reason in marketing we're all in business. We study the consumer to understand their needs and wants. We also understand when they want it, where they want it, and all of those things are vital. And so this is the difference. Because the consumers, we create demand with the consumers want it and pull the things through the system. And so that is a definition of what push and pull is, okay? Now, test question. You won't have to give it, okay? But I'm gonna provide you. This is marketing channels. We have three players, and I'll talk about this again. The manufacturers. The manufacturers are the originators of the product and service. You can make notes now and I'll reinforce those notes. Go right ahead. Intermediaries, everybody in the middle. Wholesalers, retailers, specialized intermediaries, all of those people in the middle. And then the last one in the marketing channel is the consumer. Test question. This is a 10-point question on your first test. Why is the consumer considered part of channels? Because the consumer performs channel functions. The consumer performs channel functions. You go to the gas station, you fill the tank yourself. You order the goods online, you set up your own distribution. You do your own return. You, in essence, are performing the functions that the channel does, and because you do, usually what happens is the manufacturers give you a break in price. Anybody got a Costco account? Costco is one of the craziest places in the world, where the average supermarket has something like 52 to 150,000 separate items. Costco has less than 7,000. And then they move stuff around too. They don't keep the same stuff in the same place. And so part of going to Costco is the experience of finding where the heck everything went, okay? But you like it because that's Costco. Costco is one of those unique systems because they make nothing, zero on the products they sell. Costco only makes money on the subscriptions. That's all they make money on. And that's astonishing to me that they're still moving so well. Okay, I'm sorry, I went rambling a little bit. But this is marketing channel strategy. And the channel strategy part is we're going to talk quite a bit about the why of channels, all right? And so we're going to break these things down to also into not only the players that are in the systems, but we're also going to talk about why you do certain things. We're going to get a little bit into psychology. We're going to talk about power. We'll talk about conflict. We'll talk about relationships. It's going to get very Dr. Philly by the end of the class, okay? So, but those are all good things to know because eventually when you get out into the real world, you're going to need to be able to make statements and be able to convince others of your own positions. So one of the things that we'll also do here, we'll do a little bit of writing, not too much. Well, once again, I'm going ahead of myself. Let's go through the syllabus. First off, yes, I know. Oops, get away. I don't want you yet. Thank you. Okay. So, marketing channel strategy. And yes, I know it says 101, I didn't have enough time to change it. So marketing channel strategy in its most basic form is about the distributions of goods and services to a chosen consumer segment to maximize the value to the consumer. That's it, right? And if you take that basic statement, you could probably equate that with all of what marketing is. Marketing channels is the focus on the consumer, their particular desires, and how can we exceed them. So, marketing channels can take a product and make it extremely valuable, and the next day make it extremely worthless. What do I mean? If I'm supposed to get a FedEx before noon tomorrow and those contracts have to be dated that day, that is an example where time is of the essence. That is also examples of where marketing channels need to excel. And so our understanding of what the consumers need ultimately will drive our ability to satisfy them. Okay, so a few things. No, I don't have a absence policy. It's been there forever. I mean, I look in this class and I see nothing but adults. And I understand if you have to miss a few classes, doesn't mean that your responsibilities change. But that is the expectation. You're living with this stuff in class. So I'm sure one of you might have a, late night. It might be a little difficult, but just remember, look over the recordings, okay? So in retailing, I took retail class with a doctor by the name of Dr. Breland. Great God, brilliant. He was one of the inspired me to be a professor. Anyway, he did the same test every semester. Every semester, my brother took the semester before me, and I missed a couple of classes. It's Billy Carter and I, free beer. Anyway, so I'm trying to study for the test, and Lynn goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. Look, let me show you how to do this." And he says, "Look, this is how you do Riley's law of retail gravitation. It's a way you can calculate the trade centers between two populations." And so I figured out how to do it. So I got my test back, and it said 85 plus 20, 105. And Dr. Vreeland goes, "All right, folks." He said, "I know I forgot to teach you Riley's law of retail gravitation. So I gave everybody 20 points. And Mr. Shows, how the hell did you know how to do Riley's law of retail gravitation?" I said, "It looked good." Okay. So anyway, make yourself look good. So how do we separate this course? This course, first let's go to the grades. 90 to 100 is an A, 89 to 80 is a B, and 79 to 70 is C. I don't do the pluses or minuses. That hurts my head, okay? So if you get a 91, it's an A, all right? You get a 90, it's an A. Do I curve? Yes, okay? There are distinct breaks that happen in between. And if I see you've been here practically every day and you've done the bonus questions and you've got an 88, yeah, I'll roll it up. It's what my professors did for me, and I'm just passing it down, okay? So the test, there are 4 of them. They're worth 20% each. There will also be case or group analysis, the position papers that you'll have to do. That's the little writing part I was talking about. That's another 20%. That's how you get your 100%. And I will have many opportunities to stack bonus points along the way, okay? So channels is broken up into 4 sections. So the first section we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the analysis phase. And so we're going to know or determine whether or not we have an efficient channel system. We're going to do a very little calculation, not too much, but some, and we will do those in groups. So that will be the first thing is we'll learn how to analyze and design channel structures and strategies. The next is we will benchmark traditional and emerging channel systems. This means we'll talk about retailing, wholesaling, franchising, and we will also talk about the omni-channel, which is effectively taken over everything. And then after that, We will talk about in the implementation of channel systems, what are those strategies that we can do, understanding what conflict is, understanding the reach of power and our relationships and how we can maximize those to ultimately achieve benefits within the channel system itself. So, pretty straightforward, broken down. Start out with chapter 1. We will probably have our first test February 6th. I try to hold this fairly firm, but I also recognize that I give and take. I mean, of course, like last semester, everybody knows what happened there. So I also have something else. On February 22nd, I will not be here, and I won't be here for about a week. So I'm going to have surgery on my right knee. I'm going to have a total knee replacement. So it'll be probably out for at least 3 days. So next January 22nd through the 30th, I probably won't be here. Okay. So just to let you know, there'll be pre-recorded sessions, so you'll be able to keep up with them. I have a lot of them canned already. So just to let you know. All right. What happens when you play basketball for 50 years? One new hip, another new knee. Okay. Any questions? Anything? All right. I know you're stuck. Anyway. After the second section, we'll talk about our ability to understand whether it is better to buy or to make. Make or buy analysis is critical to the success of organizations because it determines whether or not our unique abilities are sufficient that we can create a totally unique product, or if our best things are in distribution, and so someone else can actually make it for them, okay? We'll talk about make or buy analysis, we'll talk about intensity, selectivity, and we'll talk about dual distribution. I have a great example about dual distribution right now. And then we move towards our first position paper. Do not have to worry about position papers right now. You will be in groups and I will give you what you'll need. It'll be about 600 words, no more. And what a position paper is it's a strongly worded statement, and you have to state whether you agree or disagree with that statement. I'll go over that later, okay? We'll move to our second test by March 6th. We'll start talking about wholesaling. We'll talk about franchising, which is the great story, probably more unique in the United States than anything else. Franchising is amazing. And then how do we manage power? How do we manage conflict and relationships? The test will be on May 8th, and it will be online, and it will be multiple choice. The test traditionally, I have 30 questions, multiple guess from those chapters. I will do 6 or 7 essays and allow you to pick 4 that are worth 10 points apiece. And then I'll have a few bonus questions at the end, okay? All right. So, any questions about the syllabus, deadlines, anything like that right now? Okay. So, we're going to roll on just a little bit, and then we're going to go for the day. So, understanding channel strategy. So, one of the big questions that's always asked is, why channels at all? When I first started teaching, when I was getting my PhD, this 20 years ago, channels was dead. I mean, channels, if you were to go on, I did a paper on it called Does Place Still Have a Place? And one of the things that you found is that if you went to the AMA website and looked for search terms, placed ranked 242nd, and channels was something like 185th. So, I mean, it was not even on the mind of what marketing professors are. Most marketing professors take consumer behavior. I have 25 years in retail, maybe a little bit more than that. Channels is very big in my thought processes. When I was getting my PhD, I wanted to get a minor in supply chain. You're supposed to, if you had to get a minor in a graduate class. So I wanted to do supply chain at Louisiana Tech. They didn't have it. I did psychology. The psych professors do not like marketing professors being with them because eventually what happens is marketing professors tell the psych professors how much they're making. And then it's like, why am I doing psych? Anyway, so I thought it was basically over. And then this little device came along that we have right here and fundamentally changed forever the way channels work. And this is the omni-channel. We'll talk about that as well. But your ability to control everything that happens in the channel system from this little device has fundamentally changed everything. We started talking about the omni-channel probably in about 2005, 2006. Once the basics were here where we had a smartphone and apps that could be able to do those things, everything was in place for the revolution over the last 10 years that have happened. And I was this only channel person, and now I could teach 4 classes if I wanted to, and I've got standing room only, all right? Channels is the last great frontier. Excuse me, I'm going on. Channels is the last great frontier of marketing, of the 4 Ps. It's a great place to work in. If you're into supply chain and if you're into that section, I'm telling you, it's a good life, okay? All right, so why is marketing channels important? It represents 1/3 of the worldwide GDP. 1/3 of the world's gross domestic product is tied up is tied up in channels. They are the gatekeepers between the manufacturers and the end users. They, in essence, are the boundary spanners that take a product from beginning to very end. The channel experience can differentiate a consumer's perception of a brand image. Anybody in their family have a Lexus? Okay, so when Lexus came out, and oh, by the way, I looked this up, you can still do this. When Lexus came out, you were automatically given a 3-year, 36,000-mile free oil changes when Lexus first came out. Now, how much is the parts for an oil change? Anybody want to guess? You can be vague. Throw me a number.
Like the oil itself,
The oil and the filter, just that.
it's like the base one, like 40-ish, and then like full synthetic around 80.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But if you looked at the bulk that they buy that in, you can take that and effectively discount that by about 80%. So the oil in an oil change is about $20, and the manufacturer's price for the filter is about $5 more. Okay, so that's how much money is spent by Lexus to get you to bring your car in their shop to be able to change the oil. Now, what do you think Lexus gets out of it? Yes, satisfaction, but something else happens. What happens when you bring your car into a dealership? What are they going to do to
They
it?
always make something up.
Maybe, but where do they get the information from? Yes, from the vehicle itself. They plug in their module, they hook it up, and this is the advantages that Lexus got from doing that, okay? When Lexus first came out, naturally, the first vehicle or the first thing of anything has its bugs. But what happened is consumers willingly brought their automobiles into the dealerships. The machines hooked up. They took all that information, sent it upstream for that generations of AI machines to look at wear and tear on the cars and anticipate when problems would happen. It was a great idea. It's a mutual exchange, it's very successful, and the Lexus dealers look at that as being exceptional. Because they were also to do things for the first time, like say, you got 80% left on your brakes, you're doing good, okay? That's the kind of information that was shared to the consumer that was never done at any time before. And so the channel experience can change everything. And it can make it worse. And so how we treat our customers on the delivery ultimately can translate into the value that the consumer believes. And it is an underutilized source of sustainable competitive advantage. If I can't change my product, if I can't change anything else, but if I service and I service well, then that is a sustainable competitive advantage. Anybody in here use steel tools? Just once. Okay, steel tools. You're going to find that if you look on the back of every landscaper, they're going to have a steel tool there. But steel tools cost 40% more than tools that you would buy at Lowe's I love it, Home Improvement Center. It's not a hardware store. Anyway, but it costs 40% more. How can steel possibly charge 40% more? Because you can't buy a steel tool unless from an authorized dealer. Anybody ever start a chainsaw? Wonderful feeling, isn't it? I like to know which end to grip, you know, I mean, I don't want to grab the business end, okay? So one of the things that if you buy a chainsaw from Steel Tools, and it's an authorized dealer, they will assemble it, they will test it, they will show it so that you keep all your fingers. I mean, that's what you get from Steel Tools. And that is an underutilized source of sustainable. So if any of you ever get into one of my marketing strategy classes in graduate, I use Steel Tool as one of those great examples that they're doing everything right and don't mess with it. So that's one of the great examples. So a strong channel system is a strong source, a sustainable competitive advantage. It can't easily be copied. It also requires the experience and knowledge of the individuals who are at that system. And you can't fake, especially technicians that are good. Tesla's most valuable resource is not their vehicles. Tesla's most valuable resource are their software engineers, all right? That's their source. It's the same thing also with SpaceX. They got the best engineers in the world. And so what is a marketing strategy? So this is the official definition, and you'll probably see this definition like flat exactly like this on the test. A marketing channel is a set of interdependent organizations that are independently owned, and that is also extremely important. Interdependent organizations involved in the process of making a product or service available. Marketing channels does not survive on its own. Marketing channels is a firm to end user system. Each channel member depends on the other to be able to do their jobs. And realize this, like most marketing, or like, let's just say most everything, a marketing channel is a process, not an event. And you'll hear those words over and over again. Marketing channels is a process and not an event, which means that it acts in what's called an iterative cycle. So iteration just basically means that each process is broken down into an individual step, and you move to the next step. And as you get better at it, the iteration you get more confident about it, you can build into the system and you can keep making it stronger and stronger and stronger. And that's what an iterative process is. But all members have to flow in the same direction. So what is the easiest of the 4 Ps to change? I know I have all these questions. What are the easiest of the 4 Ps? So we got price, promotion, product, and place. Which is the easiest? Which one? Price. Right. You got it. Good for you. Yes. Price is the easiest to change. Price, you just go in and change, and yet so many bad things happen when you change price, and it is so easy to do that you got to think about it. Place is the most difficult and the most expensive because the decision process is usually long and involved. The actors in it require enormous resources, and especially many times the demands after the sale are greater than the demands before. To change a marketing channel system takes months. It requires you to be able to go to new actors, define more efficient systems, and it can take years or never. Walmart has spent a decade trying to get the RFID process down, and it just can't. And if Walmart can't do it, then I don't know if it'll ever be done. It is just expensive and demanding. So what makes it important? Excuse me. Is that we live in a world with limited assets. Entrepreneurs know that there is no such thing as unlimited assets, no matter who you are. And that you must, as a business, maximize your particular offering, whatever limited sources you have, to make those things a strategic asset. The way you do that is you break down the entire process into cycles, and you design and manage those things in the best way that provides consumer satisfaction. If I can do it really well, I can use that as a source of blocking entries by other competitors. Usually it will result in superior performance. And hopefully, if I'm doing it right, I'm reducing cost. And so channel strategy is the set of activities that focus on designing and managing a marketing channel. Now we have so many more marketing channels than we did at one time. And so now we have a lot of cross pollution between the traditional channel structures and the new ones that are out there. And we don't have no idea where we're going in the next decade, especially with AI. But a channel strategy is those activities that are focused on designing and maintaining a channel for competitive advantage and for ultimately greater financial. And so that is why we study marketing channels. It doesn't get a lot of press, but it is probably right now, in my own opinion, maybe the central most important thing now, because that is what the consumer directly interacts with. Integrated marketing communications are designed to be able to help create interest and desire. But it is the interaction with the channel, especially with post-purchase evaluations, to determine whether or not we got it right. Channels is a big. All right, I think we've done enough for one day. We will come back on Thursday and we will do some more talking about chapter 1. And I hope you all have a good day. Thank you very much.